Okay, it's back. Let me see if I can move it now. Now it's working. Now I can do this and actually show you a little bit of this space. So it's very cool. That's my big screen monitor behind me there. That's a computer that I've got doing something we're going to talk about in another week. That's another office back behind me. I have a very cool little deck behind me here that I can go out on. Show you that real quick. That's going to get a little dark. Apologize, but this is a very cool little area outside. And we actually had snow this morning, but it got up to almost 50 a little bit later in the day. So you can kind of see some desk chairs. There's some folding chairs behind me and a little sitting area. So this is outside. A little lighting. Mark, why don't you start recording? It is time. So
Okay.
I'll walk back inside.
Okay, we are recording now.
All right. Hey, everybody. Got Wayne and Mark here. And Wayne is at his new office space, which is in the context of the sharing economy that we talked about last week in Loveland, Colorado. And this is a place called Office Chair. And it is not something like a WeWork that's all over the world. This is a one-time operation and created by some local individuals. This used to be a bank building a long time ago, and then it was converted to a publishing facility. I'm going to walk around just as we get started a little. We're not going to talk too much about the sharing economy today. We're actually going to talk about, well, it is sharing economy. Talk about blockchain. And here's some offices in a hallway that are behind me. And just trying to show you with my webcam here. I'm walking backwards through some stuff that you can see. This is walk down to some stairs here and a little eating area that we have. There's about 10 of these throughout the building. When this is completely full, there's as many as 200 people that could be in here at one time. There's a refrigerator, freezer, and microwave, eating area. Got a shower on food. Here's a bunch of other office spaces over here of different companies. You can see this one here. This is a funny story. So look at this door here behind me where it says Professional Ambulance Service. This building's been operating now for 2 years, and that business has had people in it twice in 2 years because they needed to have an office in Loveland, Colorado to get a contract with a hospital that's in this area. But they got the contract and they don't have to ever be here, and they're based in Cheyenne, Wyoming, so they've never come here again, except one time, I guess, just to check something out. But anyway, that's a little bit around the building. A little logistics, if you guys would, it'd be great if you would let us know that you're hearing me all right. Mark, why don't you say a few words? Mark's in Bangladesh.
Yeah, okay, hi everybody. Welcome, and we're going to get started here in a little bit.
We have started, Mark. I hope that you're recording.
Oh yeah, we are recording, but
We've been going for about 5 minutes, 3 minutes.
yes, what I meant was your presentation, because you haven't started your presentation yet. But we are officially recording now.
Yeah, I don't just do a formal presentation. That's not my style.
Okay.
Gosh, Mark, you think you figured that out a long time ago. Anyway, Kate.
All right.
Hey, Kate. Hey, Kate, you're cool. Kate's here from down under, down in New Zealand. So thank you. And would you guys use your little Q&A box and put in whether you're hearing me okay by putting a 1 or more in. And Wendy says you can hear just fine. Awesome. Thank you. We'll just throw some 1s in there. You can hear and see the webcam. They'll be sharing the screen here a little bit later also. And Kate says hello to everybody. So tonight, we're going to talk, or today, wherever it is in your part of the world, we're going to talk about two topics that are very interrelated, and that's cryptocurrency and blockchain. And I am not an expert by any means on either of those, but I've learned quite a bit about them over the last period of time, and I'm incredibly excited about them. They are a form of the sharing economy. They're certainly economic, because if you get involved with them, there are multiple of ways that you could generate some income for yourself with this whole area of blockchain and cryptocurrency. And we'll try to have an expert on with us sometime in the future that will be able to be very specific and give us expertise about it. There is one person that I know very well that is in that role, and I'm going to share my screen here. And this person is very well known internationally as an internet marketer, not as a cryptocurrency person. And Mark, are you seeing my screen yet?
Yes.
Yep. Okay. And so I'm going to scroll. It's weird, Mark, because usually my webcam goes away. I think I'm going to click on the X, and I think it'll stay there. You guys still seeing my webcam?
Yes, I can see it.
And seeing the screen?
Yes. Yep.
Okay, cool. So this is Mike Dillard, just to show you him. He lives in Texas, and he is a world expert in internet marketing and has made lots and lots of money doing it. But about 6 years ago, in 2014, actually in 2013 a little bit, but mainly in 2014, he started investing and working with cryptocurrencies, and specifically with Bitcoin, over time with others. And I'm not going to quote his numbers, so don't quote me on this, but he has told me and he's told the world that yesterday he made $138,000 one day. He started with a $13,000 investment back in 2014. So daily right now, he's making hundreds of thousands of dollars a day based on one $13,000 investment. What would that be? 2014, 16 years ago. So it's amazing what you could be able to do with it. And I'm going to give you some of the basics today. We were trying to be able to do a showing of a couple of videos, but I'm just going to show you a glimpse. You're going to see them, but you're not going to hear them, just because the audio doesn't come through. And I'm using a new computer, and I'm in a new location. I'm in this workplace that I told you about, and we just haven't fully got this figured out yet, so didn't have time to mess with it tonight. By the way, as we go along here, I'd like this to be interactive. Please put your questions, put your comments in. So I'm going to ask my first question of the night. Put in a 1 if cryptocurrency and blockchains is a topic that you feel like you have very much knowledge about, and put in a 9 if you feel like you don't have hardly any, and if you're somewhere in between, put in a number in between. So if you're closer to knowing a lot, put in a 2 or a 3. If you're closer to really knowing not very much, put in a 7 or 8, something like that. If you're in the middle, put a 5. Just throw that into the Q&A box if you would. I'm going to keep going. I'll be watching it. Do it. And then a second question is, and we're getting all over the map. It's got some 3s, got some 8s. So some that know probably more than me that I would put myself in a 3 category. So here's the next one. Have you invested? This is a real simple 1, or 9. If you have invested in cryptocurrency yourself, if you've invested in it, put in a 1. If you haven't, put in a 9. So you see other people now. I do see some 1s, and I don't see anything else yet, but again, if you've never done it, put in a 9. So I see some 9s too. Cool. So we've got a diverse audience. So as we go along here, please put some questions in and comments and thoughts. I want to learn from you, especially those people that are putting in that they have invested themselves and that they have some knowledge base. And if you're willing to be unmuted at any time, let us know that. Mark, you keep watching that. I'm not going to look at that on the attendee side of things. So if somebody wants to be unmuted, there's a little place on the dashboard, which is probably on the right side of your screen, where if you just put your hand up, it's a little thing, that'll be telling Mark that you'd like to be unmuted. You can speak. Otherwise, I'll probably keep the questions up. So, Mike Dillard is a guy, like I said, that has become a real strong expert. There are a lot of others out there. Just do a Google search. We're going to do one of those in just a minute. But I have to show you a couple other things that he's given me. So didn't even do that. But you see my screen a little different. And I apologize. My screen is really sensitive to a touchpad. It's right now, so it's probably if you decide that you'd like to invest, you need to probably use an exchange, and there are a lot of them out there. I also am investing, so I'm going to talk about that a little bit. I actually show you my screen for Coinbase, which is one of these 4 that I've actually chosen to utilize. I've looked through all of them, and I like all of them. And I'm beginning to think about using Kraken a little bit, and I'm curious if anybody out there has it. Tell us which of these exchanges you might have used and maybe why you like them and what you didn't like about them. One of the things I don't like about Coinbase is that when I use it across different media, so if I use it on my laptop and then I use it on my phone, it uses different types of security. I'd really rather it use the same. All of these have really high levels of security. They're all heavily insured. They have basically really, really high encryption and very long track records, and have had billions of dollars go through them through these exchanges. But you can also buy Bitcoin, at least, directly without going through an exchange. Problem with that is you've now got to figure out some other things, which is, how do I really figure out what I have, how much what I have is worth? Get some pricing, and you can get these from these exchanges. I'll show you that in a minute. And then, how do I use that money directly to buy things? With the exchanges, the exchange converts money that you give it access to into these digital currencies, of which there's a number of them. I'll show you that. Bitcoin is the one that people know the most about. And then once you've bought it, it maintains it for you. It keeps a record of it for you. And then when you sell it, which is a click, you have cash that comes back into a cash account that you have with the exchange, and you can have that immediately put back into your bank account or to a place that you like. You can even use it on PayPal and pay for things directly on PayPal. Dillard, and I also say that it's a really good thing to use multiple exchanges, not just one. This Blockfolio.com is an app that you can get in the mobile block app store for your phone, or I could click on it here, and I'll do that in a minute. and it'll track your portfolio separately from the exchange. This is current, by the way, as of yesterday. So 3 different types of cryptocurrencies that Dillard is invested in, and remember, $148,000 yesterday, are Link, which is actually called Chainlink, is its full name. These currencies are given acronyms, much like stocks are given acronyms, and the acronym for Chainlink is called Link. And then there's Uniswap, which is got the acronym UNI, and he has invested in it. And then VVET, which is VeChain, and he's invested in that, as well as in Bitcoin, which has a BIT as its signature. This is the video, one of the videos that I wanted to show you, and here's another one. I'm actually going to play a little bit of this in the background, and Mark and I did this together earlier, and you won't hear the audio from it, but you'll see a person, and I'm going to try to talk over the audio just a little bit to just show you. Shows that it's a 9-minute video, and you can go into YouTube and just click on, just put in the search engine, put in Bitcoin or put in cryptocurrencies or blockchain, and there will be hundreds of videos which you can watch. I'm just going to show a little bit of this one just to give you a little bit of preliminary information that'll help us as we get started with this. Please, there's a bunch of you out there. Don't be shy. Put in some questions or comments. So again, Mark, let's start. Can you hear me well now? And as I start this video, make sure to stop me, interrupt me whenever it gets going if my audio is not being heard, or if you do get some background noise from the video as it begins to play. Okay?
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to click on the video now, and since I'm sharing my screen, you're going to see it. And these are commercials that are playing first. So I'm going to skip the ads. All right, so it's going to start now. I'm going to try to talk over it a little bit. So let's say there's some kind of a coin that's worth lots of money. It's not platinum, it's not gold, it's not silver. It's not something you can hold in your hand. It's a digital currency. It exists electronically. And right now he's talking about Bitcoin. So it's not attached to a state. It has no issuing authority or regulatory agency. There's no organization that can tell when to make more coins, how much to produce, where they are, whether there's fraud. It's completely unregulated. So Bitcoin would not exist unless a lot of things happen. And it is the first by a lot of people of the cryptocurrencies. So you can exchange Bitcoins all over through what we call peer-to-peer networks, which you can see here a bunch of computers where it's going to go back and forth between them. So, how come you can't make counterfeits? It isn't a string of data that can be duplicated. It's an entry on a big ledger, which is called the blockchain. And that ledger puts every transaction in. This is an old video, by the way. It's made in 2016. That 170 gigabytes that you just showed there is many times bigger than that today. So the ledger is something like this. So I just talked about how there's no central authority. So there's got to be somebody that keeps track of those ledgers. There's actually people that volunteer to do that. They are monitored by other people, lots of them, that are all taking track of the same thing. So he's talking about poker now, friends. So he's saying, instead, you don't have any chips, So you actually start writing down who's betting what. Well, you're not going to trust one person, so everybody's putting it in. So if somebody tries to cheat, they're going to get caught. So that's very similar to the way that blockchain works. So the way that blockchains work, there's just thousands of these things. These people monitoring it, and they're keeping these ledgers. So again, uses poker as an analogy here, where there's millions of these people doing this, and when somebody says, I want to see the rest of you, they announce it, and all of a sudden, they're compared. So the people that are keeping track of it add transactions into the mix. So he's talking about how people get credit card fraud, which I had this morning, by the way. I'll tell you about that in a little bit. I was hacked into at a Napa Auto Parts, my credit card. They're kept safe because of cryptography, Bitcoin's are. And they're called keys. You can read here what he's talking about. So wallets are where your Bitcoins are located. You have a private key and the public has a key. Private key can take data. That's where you're trading the data. That's what these exchanges do in an automated form for you. So again, these people doing this cryptography can keep track of all these transactions. So that's through the public key that he just showed you. So there's also a timing that's put in. So if you bought a llama and some gold for $1,000, and the financial systems get hacked because of that kind of a problem. So I pause that. You should read that. Both the Bitcoin network and your wallet automatically check your previous transactions to make sure that you have enough Bitcoins to send in the first place. So you can't be scamming the system. Again, this isn't brand new. Bitcoins have been around for over 10 years, close to 11 years. And there have not been all of these instances of hacking that you hear about from so many other things. I'm going to quickly check out questions for a second here. And I lost it. So you said I lost. Guys, you're being really quiet out there. Give some thought to this and ask some questions or some comments. Those of you that know a lot about it, and there are some of you, check what I'm saying and what's going on here and say, hey, you're BS. That's not right. Or if you don't know anything, try to think of some questions that you'd like to ask. So I'm going to minimize my Q&A box again. So we're going to keep this, we're about 2/3 way through what we're going to play. So what he talks about there is that another problem, network delays, would be how can you get things working to where you won't always receive the transactions in the same order. So he's talking about there's math problems that occur. So that all gets done by people that are watching this have to do simple math problems. So if the function says you got to add them all together, you got to add them together and get a 10, equal 10. So it's all very protected. So he's giving all the background. One of the really great things about this Bitcoin in particular is that in history there will only be a certain number made. And here's a little quiz question. Anybody that knows that number, put it out there. And they were first made and you could buy them for just nothing. I can't remember, I think it was something like 4 cents. And there's a plan to have them made, I think, for 20 years, maybe it's 40. There's a big difference in time there. But over time, they get made more and more slowly to where at this point, I believe we're at about 80% of the total that will ever be made. The reason that Bitcoin's price is going upward is there's a limited amount. There's a scarcity. Pricing is typically based on scarcity. And there is that scarcity of Bitcoins.
When there's a question, okay.
All right. I'll put this on pause and see what the question is. Thank you, Mark. How do you buy them? We're going to get to that. Mark, great question. So we'll just finish the video here, and I'm going to actually show you one way. And one way is to, and the way that most people use is to buy them through exchanges. And that's what I'm going to show you. Great question, Mark. Thanks for stopping me. So I'll get to that. Mark, my wonderful assistant, thanks for stopping me. And Mark, who put the question in, thanks for your question. So he's talking about a lot of the details here. And it was first done by international crypto security systems to develop all of this. And they can do, used to take 10 minutes to get the solution, and now they can do it in nanoseconds. And that's the key of why this can all happen so quickly. We're going to get real practical about this in a little bit. So he's talking about how this blockchain keeps getting added to and how the whole process works. So I think we're going to stop with this just because that's about all you need. I'm going to show you a couple other videos here that you might want to just look for. So this is one called Bitcoin Made Simple, and you should look again in YouTube for this. Just do a search for it. This is a more difficult one in terms of understanding, but it's also really good. And it's how Bitcoin is changing the money and business transactions in general. So, so that's the circumstances. So, yeah, good question. You ask, how would you buy it? Here are 4 exchanges. I happen to use one of them called Coinbase. I'm going to click on that, and this is my personalized account for Bitcoin. Right now, it's not showing my portfolio, but it's showing, and I said Bitcoin, but for cryptocurrencies, it's showing all the currencies that they will handle. And you can actually, there's more that aren't on here, but you can see there's a lot of them. We're up to 30 now, and these continue. There's 37 of them here, and you can actually find some others. And it tells you what their prices are, and it tells you what their current, I believe that's a 24-hour average change is. So they've gone up. This one, Bitcoin's gone up 4.59%. up to a price of 19,197, which, by the way, is very high. It's the peak of Bitcoin in its history is just a little over 20,000, maybe right around 21. The market cap is how much there is out there. So right now there's $355.9 billion of Bitcoin that are out in the market. And remember, as I told you, over time, that will increase, but not a lot because their Bitcoins are only being made at a slower and slower rate. It's not like the Federal Reserve here in the United States, which is just printing fake money faster than we can even imagine it. And now the U.S. is in trillions of dollars of debt. This doesn't have any of that circumstance with it. So if you look at across the board, today's been a pretty good day for all of the cryptocurrency that this group monitors, because the market in its whole is up 4.97%. Ethereum, which is also one of the more popular cryptocurrencies, is at 6.68 billion market cap. It's down. Look at everything else. Chainlink, which is one that I happen to own, is down. 1551 is not down that much, and I bought mine at quite a bit lower than that. So for me, mine is up, but that's for today. It's down that much. But most of them are up. Uniswap is down. That's one of the ones, if you remember, that Mike Dillard invests in. So, to answer your question, Mark, you set up an account on something like Coinbase. I'm going to show you Kraken now, where I am just about to set up an account. I haven't done it yet. And you set it up very simply by having your email address, put a password in, you put a username in, it determines whether you're a human being, and then it usually uses two different forms of security to make sure that it's you. It will send a message, an email message to you, and it'll send a text message to you, or some other way that you tell it to do it. So it confirms that that's really you. And then the last piece it does is you've got to stock it with some money, which you tell it where to access that money at. Most people do that access through their bank account. So it's like wiring money. You're having money go from your bank account into your exchange account. So I'm just going to scroll here a little bit. And this is their marketing. They're telling us why we should use them. One of this, they say they've got an amazing security approach. They can buy and sell assets in a few clicks, and it's literally from little bits of a second. It's very quick, so it's very, very liquid. They're around 24/7. By the way, Coinbase is almost identical. They would have their essentials like this. Fees as low as 0. Very rarely is that the case. You are going to pay some fees. On Coinbase, you pay 2.96% right now for your initial buy or sell, and for up to some certain amount of money, and then you pay 1% for your follow-up transactions. And you can buy and sell and be a trader, just like you could in stocks, multiple times during the day. Funding options, that's what we talked about before, is where do you get your money that you put into your exchange account, and typically coming from your bank, but it can come from other things. Yeah, you can actually trade options also. I haven't done anything with that, but and this is where it's options. So that's leverage. That's a lot of risk, by the way. You can also invest in futures, which again is the same thing you can do in stocks. Again, I have no experience with that, and I haven't done that. You can get a white glove treatment with their account management. So, you know, it's pitching to you. So that's what it's doing. You can look at prices here inside without signing up, I would think. Not positive. Maybe you do have to sign up. Guess you do have to sign up to be able to see their trends. This is actually better than Coinbase is. That's more, then they usually tell you if you're an institution, what you can do, how do you deal with futures, what are some of the guides, how can you learn about it. There's podcasts, crypto guides. Let's see what their crypto guide is. Bitcoin and cryptocurrency for beginners. So let's look at one of these that we just looked at, just see what they're actually doing. All of these things have functions too, by the way. They do things. They aren't just a form of currency. So let's look at Algorand. Let's see what that is. What is it? Algorand is a number of the newer products, expanding the uses of cryptocurrency by accelerating transaction speed, reducing the time it takes for them to work. Originally officially launched in 2019, Algorand seeks to achieve these attributes through decisions that deviate from how cryptocurrencies have traditionally been done. So there's all kinds of really new cool things going on. So let's go back and look up Algorand here. There it is. It's up 14.83% today. It has a market cap of 14.5 million and 415.2 million, and its price is currently 42 cents for one Algorand. So I'm just showing one little piece of my screen. I will show you for a minute the home page, which shows you my portfolio. I initially invested and I invested $10,000, I think on October 25th. You can see what it's done over time. And today, and I haven't looked at it in the last few minutes, but earlier today, it was 14,000 range, took a dip, came back up. So let's see what it says right now. Bitcoin is at 19,202. These are currently what I own. I own Bitcoin, I own Chainlink, I own XRP, and I own Stellar Lumens. And I can look at my portfolio, and it's currently at 14,203.38. So I have basically made $4,203.38 in about a month, a little less. And I am not looking at this all the time. I'm not a trader, as they say. So I have taken the cash that I decided I was going to take out, and I have cash that's sitting here, which I can directly, and that could go right into my bank account also. Bitcoin's down a little bit for today at 14.9. Actually, that's down from when my last purchase was. Chainlink is up quite a bit. XRP is up a little bit. And this new one, Stellar Lumens, I just bought that today. I bought $100 worth of it, so it's gone up 10% today for me. So you can also look at this in a longer period of time. Let's look at Bitcoin over a year. That's actually my portfolio. Let's look at Bitcoin. So let's click on Bitcoin. And in an hour, it's up 0.05%. These look like big changes, but they're not, as you can see. In 24 hours, it's up 4.2, and you can see these are bigger changes. So right down here, that was the lowest it was, it looks like. That was 18,052, so it's up $122 from then. There's a week. Overall, up 14.8. A month, up 46%. a year, up 169%, all time. Remember I said that it peaked here. Let's see if we can get right to the peak. I believe that it went over, maybe that was the peak, 1900. Maybe we were at a peak today, actually. I haven't read some of the news about it, but you can get the news also. It'll have top stories. It's rallying like never before. It's getting cheaper to use. That was written 5 hours ago. First mover, why is Bitcoin's price rising? There's a few possible answers. This isn't just Bitcoin, here's Ethereum, so on. So it'll take you all the way back beyond. So actually, this starts when it was 100. It looks like $100. Might have been when the exchange started. So to buy it on this exchange, I just go right over here. I click on this. I can either buy it with what I already have here, or I can buy it from, in this case, my credit union that I have the money from, and I can buy it at as little as $1. The reality is the fee would be more than that. I think there's a minimum fee of $3. So like I said, so the minimum amount that most people would buy at a time is 100, but you can buy in smaller amounts when you have some of the ones that are a lot lower in their market cap and in their daily price. So I'm going to switch back to the home. And it shows me over here what my recent transactions were. You can see that I've made 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 today. I sold XRP. I made probably 20% of my money. I sold some other XRP because I was just playing with that a little bit. I've already made back. XRP today has made me almost all of my money back. I think in total I put in $300. It's now almost $600. And I bought it yesterday. Stellar Units I bought today for 107. I've already sold some of it, and yet it's already up to 7 again. No, yeah, I did too. No, I just bought it today. Sorry. So it's up $7, and I bought it probably at noon today. So it's up 7% in a day. So I'm going to go to questions again and look back. Please, everybody, interact with me, especially those of you that have purchased yourself. Tell me how you've done. Mark, great question. Next one is, does the IRS know who holds Bitcoin? I am not an accountant, and I am not a lawyer, and I'm not going to give you an official answer to that. I will give you just a hint. It's a great question, and it's one that really could work to your benefit. Can I get a little chuckle at least to that benefit? So I'm not going to answer it directly, because I think that's a better question for an accountant or for an attorney to answer. But I believe, my opinion, it's going to work to my benefit. So, and Mark gave a nice LOL for that one. I know people who have invested as little as $400 or $500 and have just decided to play a little bit. There are traders who literally watch this, they live this. Just like there are stock traders, it's all they do. And some of them do amazing, because it is unlike stocks that can be volatile. Some of them are very volatile. Almost all of it is very volatile. And you either get into it just for the long term, or you get into it and do a little bit of trading, but not a lot, which is where I would say I am, because I probably spend 30 minutes a day doing something with it, or you're a trader and it's your job. It's what you do all day long. So that's those. What have other people's experiences been? Anybody just throw something in about how the exchanges have worked for you. I have to say what I'm using, obviously a lot more transparent. Notice how volatile. My balance has gone down. It was wasn't it 14,297? So if I was really a trader, I would have been watching and said, man, I should be selling something while it's on an uptrend. I should get before. We look at this in 5 minutes. It'll probably, because the trend is up today, this will be a 14.4 or something like that. I mean, it's that volatile right now. So let's look at prices. Ethereum stayed fairly similar. Bitcoin's still on an upward rise. Stellar Lumens is that one that I told you and look at it, it's not very old either, and it's got a $4.4 billion market cap, which is fairly low, but again, it's like 40%. It's all over the map, right? I think I bought earlier today at 16 cents, so it's at 21. This is going down in market cap. So if you notice that as we get further and further down, these are ones that have lower and lower market caps. The lowest one being this. Let's just look and see what this one says. So it's an Ethereum token. So it's actually, that's something else that's a little different. I purchase anything tangible. Yeah, I buy gold and silver with my portfolio. So that's another topic that we'll cover on another time. I'm very bullish in the long term about gold and silver, and much less bullish about the US dollar. So I moving more and more away from anything that's US dollar based and more into gold and silver. So I can buy gold and silver directly from my Coinbase account. So yes, I have money to gold and silver. And gold and silver are actually a little bit on a downtrend right now because of optimism here in the US about the stock market having record highs, which yesterday I think it hit a record high. Could be doing that again today. Because usually these Bitcoin prices or these cryptocurrency prices are a little bit counter to the stock market. So down days in the stock market, you'll see people putting more of their money as they're selling their stocks into cryptocurrencies. And so it's interesting that we're having still up days like we're having today with the stock market on up. But yes, I purchased gold and silver. Have I converted it to cash to buy other things? I think the answer to that was no. I do hold physical gold and silver. So I have a place that I can deal with locally. My Northern Colorado market, where I can buy gold and silver that I have in my hand directly from the location. I did that earlier today. So I bought it right in the store from my Bitcoin in my Coinbase account. I do hold some gold and silver in an exchange. I don't think it's appropriate to call it an exchange. In a location where it's a vault, basically, and it's got huge levels of insurance by Lloyd's of London, whatever. It's US based. You can actually do it British based or Australian based, in this particular one that I use. And I can request that I get my money sent to me in in gold or silver, or I get my currency sent to me in gold and silver. And the price gets locked in when I click, whatever the gold price is or the silver price, and then they ship it. They guarantee shipment within 24 hours, and then I can pay depending on what kind of shipment I want. If I want it overnighted, I can do that, and they guarantee they insure that shipment, and I can probably, if I was buying enough of it, I could have armed guards bring it to me. Yes, I'm not nearly at that point. But it's very transferable, very liquid. So, what other questions or comments from people? See a couple new people that have come on, and actually one person that's on our advisory board for EAT, and not going to mention a name, but appreciate having you here. And again, anybody that wants, we're 10 minutes from finishing today. This has been our session for a non-expert talking about cryptocurrency and blockchain. And we are going to get an expert on, at least one, if not more later, with enough interest from you guys. Again, anybody who would like to be unmuted, I am pretty much through with my specific topic for the day. If anyone would like to be unmuted, just raise your hand. We'll unmute you. And if you'd like your webcam on, we'll even do that for you. I'm going to do one other thing. I'm going to click on something like Dillard had showed, which is Blockfolio. Show you that real quick here. Blockfolio is the world's most personal portfolio tracker. So what you do there is you actually connect it to Coinbase or to Gemini or to Kraken or to whatever exchange that you're using. And you can then follow your various different portfolios together. And so you can follow whichever one of the platforms that you're using. So look at this, 10,000 plus cryptocurrencies. It just shows you. And 500 plus exchanges that you can link together. So there are a lot of those that are out there. I believe it's free. Not sure about that one, but see if it'll show trading. I think this might be a webinar that they're doing. You can join for free. Oh, that's for teams, token teams, but that's a different. Here's showing the market again. So Bitcoin, it's sitting there right around 19.2 still. Ethereum's down a little bit more than what we saw just a little bit ago. Yeah, and here's XRP up, big deal. Just as I told you, something like link this down a little bit. Let's look and see about Lumen. Here's Lumen, Stellar, just going nuts today. 20 cents, 20.5 now. Let's see how far they go down in their market cap. This is not sorted by market cap. But obviously it's showing 50 here, where if you remember that Coinbase was showing like 30. And some of these smaller market cap ones, had small losses here today. Let's see who the biggest gainer is. Looks like it's Lumen, stellar. The market cap has gone up 3%. I mean, that'd be a huge gain in the stock exchange. Okay. All right. Any other questions or comments? Mark asks, is there a certain amount of gold, silver one could buy before triggering some type of government attention? My webcam's on. I'm not watching it, but I'm sitting here going back and forth with my thinking mode on. See if I can get it to show it. Mark, I cannot figure. I'm going to turn it off for just a second, and then I'll turn it back on. I don't know why. I have my screen. I got to stop screen share. I'm going to stop screen share. So then I'll see my own webcam. There we go. Came and went. There it is. It went away again. I can't figure go to webinar. I'm giving you a thought feeling here. If anybody else wants to try to answer that question from your perspective, do it. But is there a certain amount of gold or silver one can buy before triggering some type of government attention? It's actually illegal to hold a certain amount, I don't know what number it is, above a certain amount of gold, at least, in a personal account. I don't believe it's illegal to hold any amount in an LLC or a corporation of some kind, which would say those would get some government attention. However, you go into local establishments that sell gold and silver, you buy them with cash, let's say, or Bitcoin, let's say. I'm not sure how they can track that. So you might be able to have a much larger amount than you might think without getting any government attention. I'm not a lawyer, I'm not an accountant, so I'm not rendering a specific opinion on that. Personally, I have gold and silver that my parents helped me accumulate. I was very, very young. In the form of coins that either have more value than just their face value, but the coins themselves are X% gold or silver. So a Cougarand is 94%, I think, gold, or something that's really high. That's an Australian coin. A US silver dollar is like 70% silver, so it has a face value of $1, but with silver today being at about $18.80 an ounce, and there is 0.7 ounces in a silver dollar, it means the face value of a silver dollar is $1. The actual silver value would be 70% of 18, do the math on that. What is it, 15, 14, something like that. If it's a coin, it's also got a value that's tradable based on its rarity, its scarcity, and therefore there are coin markets. So if you have a pre-1922 silver dollar, today, just because I was in, again, a sales establishment today, but I believe that a near mint silver dollar 1921 or earlier is worth about $35 today, about double what its silver value would be, and obviously 35 times 35x of what its face value is, which would be $1. So here's one piece of advice I'll give you clearly, and I'm doing this. Go buy rolls of quarters at your bank if they'll sell them to you, and spend the time to see if there are free 1964 quarters. Each one of those has about 6 or 7 times the value in silver in them than their face value. If it took you an hour to sort through, I think you could buy quarters. Somebody help me with this. There's quarters coming $20 cases. I don't remember if it's 20 or 50, but I can go through 20 case isn't the right word, there's no word, about 5 minutes. And I will typically find at least 2 pre-64 quarters. Not bad. How does the government know that, for example? It would know that I have X amount of quarters, but does it know that they're pre-64? So that they got 6x the silver value of what the face value is today. And I think it's going to go up a lot. Anyway, we are at the bottom of the hour, and time for us to call it a day. And some of you have been amazingly patient and been with us the whole time. Throw in some 1s if you enjoyed this and got something out of it. Throw in some 9s if it sucked. And we'll talk next week. And next week we are going to move to a topic that's going to take several weeks. That's on how can you use a pioneer mentality, which would be pioneers we consider in the U.S. as somebody who was around, let's say, pre-industrial revolution, so 1870s, 150 years ago. How can you live a better life with a pioneer mentality than with the mentality that most of us probably have today? So, Ecolonomics. And I'm going to show you ways that you can maybe make some money making the planet better, because there's so many things we do today that don't fit pioneer mentality, that are not making the planet. Probably I could just list 50 that I'm going to do today. Not proud of them. One of them is driving my car, sure. So, and there's a whole bunch of others. Drinking a canned beverage that I got instead of something natural or just water. Comes out of a spigot that's hand cranked in the well. Example. All right? Hey, Mark, anything else you have?
No, sir. It was great. I think I'll look into this. Looks really interesting.
All right. Well, hey, everybody. We'll put out an email with what we have going next week. For those here in the U.S., anywhere where you celebrate it, and if you don't celebrate it as Thanksgiving Day, celebrate it as a giving of thanks in any way, but there are other countries that do that in one way or another. Here in the U.S., we have Thanksgiving. I think it's Boxer Day or something in Canada. But, be thankful for anything you have, because I guarantee if you're on this webinar, you're better off probably than 99.9% of the people in the world in terms of what's in your bellies today. Just that alone. Hunger, what food you're able to eat, or whatever you can afford. So be thankful. I'm thankful for you guys, and thankful for Mark for being amazing doing this for so long. Take us out, Mark. Thanks.
Bye, Wayne.
Bye.